we have a couple of structural problems in California. One of them is term limits. And the fact that we have term limited legislators seriously impacts not only the quality of legislation that gets passed, but the relationships that exist between different people. Now, California is one of only 3 states that requires a supermajority to pass a budget. It's California, Arkansas, and Rhode Island. I don't know about you, but Arkansas and Rhode Island do not remind me of, states that are as large, as complex, or as globally important as California is. We're the only state that requires a bipartisan supermajority. Arkansas and Rhode Island have single-party rule that exceeds their supermajority threshold. We're the only state that has a supermajority requirement and then gives the governor a line-item veto. Now, some people would have you think that by having a supermajority threshold, that it would cause us to get to consensus. It's not what happens. It causes us to get to gridlock. It allows for the minority party to leverage for budgetary actions that have nothing to do with fiscal policy.
They take hostages.
They absolutely take hostages.
Yeah.
And it gets to be a situation where there's leveraging for policy changes that would never pass muster on policy grounds. Now, what does that mean for you? It means we pass the budget late on a regular basis because of the extraction. It means we make stupid decisions to get somebody else's vote. The most blatant example was last year. In February, we had to close a $42 billion budget hole. By June, we had a new $20 to $22 billion budget hole. So at the end of June, the Assembly passed, by unanimous vote, a package of $3.5 billion worth of savings. Savings that would have evaporated July 1. We passed them, sent them over to the Senate. The governor said he didn't want to do a piecemeal approach. He convinced enough Republicans in the Senate not to vote for this package. July 1st, 12:01 a.m., $3.5 billion of solutions evaporate. We then began having to issue IOUs. So businesses and individuals throughout the state started receiving IOUs instead of checks. Our bond rating went down. The cost of financing government went up $25 million a day for every day from that day until the day that we got the 2/3 vote. The net cost of that delay was $475 million. That was roughly $500 million of additional cuts that we had to make in the budget last year, only because of the delay in getting from having a nearly 2/3 vote to having a 2/3 vote. I believe that we need to return to simple majority. I believe it's about democracy. I think it's about transparency. I think it's about accountability. You know who voted for what and why they voted for it, and you hold them accountable. So I've called for a simple majority vote. California Forward has it as a cornerstone. I'm ready to go because the other cornerstones that they have are not all things that I love, but as a package, I think they're sensible. Let me give you a couple of examples. One says that when you have a one-time increase in state revenues, you use that one-time increase to pay for one-time expenditures. You don't create ongoing obligations based on a singular increase in revenues. Pretty good, sensible idea. You use it to pay down debt. You use it to invest in infrastructure. You use it to do capital acquisitions, things that are not ongoing obligations. Another simple concept. If you have a new program that costs $25 million or more, identify where you're getting the $25 million from so that you know you have the ongoing revenues to pay for it. These are elements of the reform that in toto I think are beneficial. There's things in it too that say if you don't pass the budget on time, the legislature forfeits their pay. Not in love with that idea, but I'm willing to take it as part of an overall package, right? Willing to take it as part of an overall package because if you give us the tools to hold ourselves accountable on one-time revenues, to hold ourselves accountable on finding revenue streams to match up with new expenditures, and you give us a simple majority budget, we should get it passed on time.